Hi, I'm Randy Brown, your YRA-Year athlete instructor. Today's lesson is on getting ready to swing, the loading process. You know, this is probably the most complicated piece of the puzzle throughout the swing. And it's the one that's most misconstrued and most misunderstood part of the swing with young kids. You tell a kid to load up, they have no reason why they load up. They just hear it, and they don't know why. And so the analogy that I use when telling kids to load up is like a boxer getting ready to throw a punch. So if I'm in a stance right here and I want to throw a punch and my feet are really close together and my legs are straight and I want to throw a punch from here like a jab, I'm not going to have any power behind it. But if I have a good athletic base and I get my knees bent, and now as I go to throw the punch, I step into my punch and I drive into it where my hands are moving, I'm going to create a lot more power. Not only hand speed, but also power with the legs. So there are 6 key points when we're talking about the loading process. Number 1, you're loading to create momentum with your hands and power within the legs. Number 2, you always want to make sure you be athletic and balanced in your hitting stance. Number 3, you want to keep your eyes still and focused on the release point. Number 4, your rhythm in the loading process is going to be matched by what the pitcher does in his delivery. Number 5, you want to be quiet in the loading process and don't rush it. Number 6, you're going to take a soft step and your hands and weight are going to go back. And number 7, a good hitting posture creates proper bat playing. So back to point number 1. We load to create momentum with our hands and power in the legs. And so what I mean by that, as I'm in my stance, as I take my stride, if you can watch how my hand goes back and my weight goes back with my stride. That's what we're talking about separation. I want to basically walk away from my hands and reach with my foot. What that does, now my hands, because they're moving, right? Now I'm creating momentum to create as much bat speed and as much hand speed as I can. As you can see now, I have my weight back. So the separation is as I stride, my hands and weight go back. Which brings me to point number 2. As I'm in that position, right? Notice how I'm in a good athletic and balanced hitting position. What this will allow me to do now, when the pitch is coming, I can adjust or adapt based upon what the pitch is and be able to take my barrel to the baseball. And in point number 3, when I stride and load, notice how my head stays still when I do that. That's going to keep my eyes still. It's going to keep my eyes being able to stay on the baseball. All right? It's real important that you track that baseball. If I get up here and I bounce as I take my stride, moment that ball's released, that ball's going to be doing this. Our eyes create optical illusions a lot of times, and so it's real important that we keep our eyes still. If we keep our eyes still, that means our head's staying still in the loading process. And when I go in to the loading process, I want to make sure I match my rhythm with the pitcher's rhythm in the delivery. So whenever you see me go back and load up, I'm basically loading up when the pitcher is going down here. I'm loading my weight back when I see the pitcher go down on his back leg. So when I load is off his load when he starts to deliver the baseball. And point number 5, again, I want to make sure I have a quiet load. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to get here and rush it because that rush creates tension, and tension creates a slower bat. I want everything to be quiet, or soft is what we call it. So I'm up here, I'm nice and relaxed. As I take my stride, everything is nice and loose and relaxed. That allows our hands to play to create maximum bat speed. Again, if everything's rushed and too quick and violent, our weight's going to get out on the front side, probably cause us to pull off the baseball or get way out in front and mishit the baseball. So in point number 6, as I load, soft step, hands go back. Soft step, hands go back. I want to try to maintain that bat angle. And when I get to that spot, notice now my shoulders and hips are aligned, my lead elbow's down, my bat angle's at a good 45-degree angle, which means my knob is pointing down to where the catcher's right knee is. So I'm in that good launch position. If I'm like this or I'm like this, it's going to disrupt my bat plane, which brings me to number 7, right? That good hitting posture will allow for good, proper bat plane throughout the swing. So I'm going to demonstrate a few of the loading process. Got some rhythm, stride, nice and quiet. I'm going to get my stance again, nice and relaxed, stride and load, keeping that bat angle, keeping that front shoulder in, which is going to allow me to stay on the baseball and have proper playing through the baseball. So remember these 6 points. Number 1, load to create momentum with your hands and power in the legs. Number 2, be athletic and balanced in your hitting stance. Number 3, keep your head still, eyes on the release point. Number 4, you want to match your rhythm with the pitcher's delivery. Number 5, quiet in the loading process, don't rush it. Number 6, soft step, hands and weight go back. And finally, number 7, good hitting posture creates proper bat playing. That's getting ready to swing and the loading process.